Chronometry calibrated. The gateway will open in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Analyzing data. Likelihood of parallel universes now at 22%. Continuing analysis of the many worlds hypothesis.
We podcast to win. That means we lose and lose and lose until we're ready. All you know now is how much you hate. You bank that. You hide that. You keep it alive until you know what to do with it. And when I tell you to listen, you listen. Welcome, everyone. I'm Gayfesh. Joining me, as always, is the lovely DemonMama.
Hello.
And Moss.
Hi.
And today we are finishing Andor. We're not finished with the season. We got Rogue One after that, but we've got the last 3 episodes of Andor to do. So, yeah, the show's over.
Oh,
Sad. Cry.
sad. But hey, end on a great ending. So
You know, I've been going back and forth on that. I kind of felt like this last arc. The first time I watched it, it felt like, okay, this is all just set up for Rogue One. And especially because like that whole ending shot of Cassian slowly walking to the ship so that he can go fly his ship to be in Rogue One. I mean, you know, you're cutting into seeing where the ending of all of our other characters are, but then you've got the Krennic looking at the Death Star thing. And, you know, there's a lot of the ending of this show where it's like, okay, we had an action bit. We start the episode with an action bit so that there's some action in the finale. But then a lot of it is just hurry up and wait for Rogue One. But I think on subsequent viewings that I was wrong. And there's a lot more character work and a lot of like thematic conclusion. And really this arc is about, even though Luthen is dead, his legacy lives on. And it's, it's Cassian himself who had such a feud with Luthen, who I was convinced was going to be the one to kill Luthen, and he's the one telling the Rebel Alliance, you guys don't know what the fuck you have without this guy.
this just immediately off the start, my thought that I just came into my mind, you talking about all the character stuff, is I'm like, man, Bail Organa, man, he's a hard to like guy. And I know he's literally a king. And so like I feel like that's like conscious there, that this guy is a literal king on his own world. And
is he a king? I thought he was a senator.
Yeah, Princess Leia. It's a royal planet. Alderaan is like a royalty planet. And
Look, I'm checking Wikipedia here, okay?
Go ahead, Wikipedia it. But that's how you get Princess Leia Organa. He's a freaking king.
No, he was a prince consort. Brea Organa was the queen of Alderaan.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, still. Okay, he's high royalty. He's like top level royalty, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
So, you see it does create like this. There's a conversation about monarchy and class in this whole show where you see like Mon Mothma having to constantly go against the grain by being like, she is like nobility on Chandrila, but like not like the king or whatever, the queen of Chandrila. She's just like, but she has that background and like what it means for her. You see her like literally at the like emotionally miserable dance party at the beginning of the show, while everyone else is like in the jungle starving and stuff. And that's like the equivalent. It's like, oh man, like the show does a good job with it. Anyway, Bail Organa, man, is he hard to like in this last thing. You're just like, dude, what is wrong with you? Why are you such an asshole?
I feel like he makes good points to some degree. Like his initial resistance in the meeting is frustrating, but then he explains himself and he's like, look, we know that Luthen was under investigation by the ISB, or at least we understand that that's probably what was happening, and they're fucking correct about that. She was on him for years, literally years. Dedra was on that case, and then it got moved to here or whatever. But so he was not wrong that you should be concerned about intel in that situation and being fed incorrect intel.
Yeah.
It so happens that he was incorrect about that intel being potentially dubious. But I understand the concern and where he's coming from on that.
Yeah, it's just like, you want him to take a little bit of a humility pill after his own team was like so compromised, and like it was literally Andor who saved his ass, and it's
He was like, you know what, I get it, point taken. You right though.
Well, and like
yeah.
There's a level of skepticism that he has and dismissiveness that he has that is unwarranted. Like you see it also in like the scene where Mon is trying to get Saw to see reason, and like and he's just like, "You got your spies everywhere," and like they cut it, and then Bale is like, "He's crazy," and then Draven goes, "No, he's not. We've been spying on him for a year."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. They do a good job of making him stand out as a unique character, even if I think he's the least likable.
He's gonna die soon, so.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting there going, man, like at the last episode, he's like, there's this part where he's like, nah, we shouldn't act on this, and like he's dragging his feet and all this. I'm like, dude, that's gonna get your planet blown up, and it's like so. It is a bit going, man, that sucks, dude.
It's an inevitability. Yeah.
Yeah. You see it unfolding. And the other character that I thought a lot about both the first time and this time is Draven, the like colonel. I don't know what he is. He's like a general. Okay. Admiral, whatever. I found him more likable this watch through, but they obviously have him being kind of like a disciplinarian tight ass. But yeah, it's like, nah, he sees it. He's like, nah, Andor, this is like the third time that you've been like, I need to go break like procedure for a really good reason. He's like, all right, you got this. Go off to Kafrene and like figure out what's going on. They do a good job with with a lot of the side characters in this final bit. And
yeah,
I also love Mon Mothma's new look.
I don't, but I think it's because it's one of those like, she had to end up there, so she gets a haircut for no discernible reason. It's
I am so glad that we brought that up, because Mon and Cassian got such a hair downgrade in this last arc, because it follows up. It goes right into Rogue One, so they have to have the hair match Rogue One, and it's like you look at how wavy and full of volume and life both Mon and Cassian's hair are in previous arcs, and here they are wearing these crappy straight wigs,
like super flat, like
it's so bad.
I love the classic Mon look. Okay, so yes, maybe you're right, and I won't say
it's
you're wrong.
It's more so that Mon's look in the show up to this point was an upgrade.
Yeah.
Rather than her now being a downgrade, that's how she was. And then they're like, okay, we're doing a TV show and we're going to hire her a better hairstylist because we don't have to have her exactly match how she looked in the movie.
Well, here's the thing. Think about it this way, okay? I'm going to Wikipedia here. She's living in a jungle in a dilapidated ruin, and before she was
Cassian
getting her hair done
in previous arcs, and his hair was nice.
Well, but he can travel freely. He can go fly to the nearby whatever system and get a haircut from Glebop Dorpfind.
I've read a comic with Glebop Dorpfind. I'm sure I have.
I know you have. And he was a great haircutter and a personal friend to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
True. Him and Dexter Jetster go way back.
Okay, so there is a lot to talk about in these final ones, and I guess one of the things I've been like itching for like 3 arcs to talk about is Clea. So how do we feel about talking about that?
It's such a Clea heavy arc. Like we might as well just
amazing.
barrel into it. Yeah.
Well, if the barreling has begun, then Clea, I love Clea. I love her. Obviously, in the first season, she has a really minor role, and in this season, she has a huge role, particularly in this arc. But everything about her character is amazing. I think they do a great job, like, building up her perspective that, like, this is a really, like, someone who was hardened to the cruelties of the Empire as a child, and yet like still maintained humanity. I think there's a scene where they're eating ice cream at like a fancy ice cream restaurant, right as they're discussing blowing up a bridge, and like with a bunch of Imperials on it. And there's this whole great like characterization moment of Luthen being like, I need to know that you're actually like making a choice. And like, of course, he doesn't actually let her press the button in the end. It's like him being like, I don't want to indoctrinate a child soldier. Like, I picked you up, like, out of necessity, and we've traveled together out of a need for safety and whatever. And this kid has like a vendetta against the Imperials for very good reason.
They wiped out her village.
Yeah, and like extremely brutally too. Like, you know, it's not like a stray bomb that everybody was gone. They were going through house by house with flamethrowers, is what you hear over the radio chatter, which is insane. But yeah, I love that whole scene and like the back and forth between them and her, like, you see her as a child, like going through this whole like, no, I'm strong. Like, I want to kill these people. But then also like, she's clearly putting on a tough face and is actually struggling with it. And it's like, and Luthen knows that. It's great. It's just really well done. I love it.
She does possess a strength of character, though. And I think that's part of what makes her very likable to me is that, like, yeah, she's clearly like struggling, especially like we get to the end of this and her entire world has just fallen apart. Her dad figure is gone. Like, we get to finally see the kind of cracks in her armor as she's just like wandering around.
She's broken down in this arc. Yeah. Like she was so calm and composed, and like her emotional expression prior to this was in like very subtle facial movements. And there's still a lot of very subtle. Elizabeth Delau is a really good actor, but like a lot of this is just like the facade is coming down because her entire life is coming down. And, you know, she's injured by the flashbang, and already she was like, you know, clearly hadn't been sleeping well and was starting to come down with something, and just
she was like pacing the safe house.
Yeah. She's not having a good day. She had to kill her dad. Like, it's not a good time. And she acted the hell out of it.
The hospital stuff was so good. Like, this is where you really start to feel the like spy thriller genre come out. Like, I just thought that the whole sequence was super enjoyable.
See, they should have given Bix that when she killed Gorst.
Literally, like we can see Clea go through this emotionally, and like that is what makes it so compelling. Yeah.
They could have definitely turned that like following episode after the what's his name, Gorst, after the Gorst killing. I feel like that one episode, the one I said I felt was like the worst episode of the season, where it's just all set up. Like, I feel like they could have compressed a lot of the setup and given Bix a full episode there. I do think that's true.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to see Bix go through, like, I wanted her to deal with the things that she was dealing with, but they could have had her deal with the things she's dealing with while on a mission, and then she gets to like actually push through it and do it instead of, at the end, okay, magically she's better and she kills the guy. Like,
it's like just putting a bow on it without having earned it. That's what bothered me about it. Yeah.
I love when Clea's like, I just got to get in that post-concussion walk in the jungle, you know, when she just like is like, and she's like clearly out of it. And then she bumps into Vel, and I really love the like connection between Clea and Vel, because they had this whole like terrible bitchy rivalry for like most of the show, and then there's like this moment of incredible compassion and connection between the two, where Vel is like, nah, like you lived, you made it through, and now you have to realize like your next struggle is to live, basically, is what she's saying to her. And you get a little bit of this with Andor as well, when they're back in the like safe house, where he's like kind of pointing the same thing, like, nah, you're coming with us, like, just, you know, whatever, like, who cares if they're mad at you, like, just come with us and live. And it's this idea, I like that because it plays into this thing that I've harped on over and over again, of like seeing the different types of revolutionaries and the types, the ways that their lives can unfold. And the one type is like the spy who is no longer employed. Like, it's like, your spying is done, like, now you need to figure out, like,
spy.
Yeah, but it's just like, no, like, this part of the revolution is over. There is like, it's not that there's no intelligence left, but the like deep embedded game of espionage and deception is done. You have to live. You get to live in the like post revolution, presumably barring like some strange Yavin fever or something. You know, Clea lives to see the empire fall. And presumably.
There's I sent this to the group chat, and I'm going to put it on screen for the podcast viewers. But there was a post on Blue Sky when the last arc premiered, It said, lots of talk about how Andor will inflect Rogue One going forward, but I think A New Hope is even more interesting. How does Kleia, knowing what she knows and having been where she's been, reacts to everything that goes on at the Battle of Yavin? No evacuation, 2-meter exhaust port, Luke's targeting computer? I honestly wonder if they had to sedate her. He turned off his what?
I love that. It's like, she would have to be like, she'd be popping the pills that Daedra was taking.
Yeah. I think that is part of what makes the scene with her and Vel so good, because this is the Kleia that we know. Kleia that we know is like, are you done? Are you going to get your shit together? Okay, are we ready? And like, it's a role reversal with her and Vel, because Vel came to her and was like, I can't do this. I need out. Like, I'm too stressed, whatever. And like, consistently, Kleia has been the one who's like, actually, you can do it. You're going to do it. You're going to get your shit together. And then, yeah, she like completely like melts down, and Vel gets to step in that more like, I'm in a more confident, powerful situation right now. I've taken my time to like rest and process the death of my lover and all that. So I think that's part of what makes that scene so touching, is that Kleia now needs someone to help her get her stuff together.
And also, of course, we see the like consistently throughout this show, there is a recognition of the value of like the get your shit together approach, but also a huge amount of heroic attention is given to the characters who have compassion, genuine compassion, even Luthen, and it kind of seals the deal in these flashbacks where you see that like his act of genuinely insane kindness, like you're literally in the middle, you're gonna like, okay, I'm gonna take a risk in the middle of us burning down a village and like sneak out this kid who's scared. Like, that's incredible. And, it's these acts of kindness. It all ties back to kind of the Nemec manifesto, that like there is this compassion that flies in the face of the Imperial way that is necessary and is also greatly heroic. And I love to see that. And I think the Vel Kleia conclusion is like a great example of that. So are the flashbacks, of course.
Vel and Cassian also have a nice conversation where they toast the fallen. And I appreciate that they name everyone on the Aldhani heist except for Skeen, because fuck Skeen.
Yeah.
But then they talk about Bix, and I guess Vel knows where Bix is, or Vel has been keeping tabs on Bix, and it was just like, yeah, when this is all over, it made me think of how when Vel came to Bix, Vel was asking Bix to be Cinta, and here she's encouraging Cassian to reach out to Bix. So here Vel is telling Cassian to be Vel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say, like, I feel like, I guess we'll probably talk about this when we get to Rogue One, but
yep.
The Bix relationship, when put next to 3 days later, the Jin Urso like little we're gonna die, so let's make out kind of thing.
They didn't make out. They hugged.
I thought they did kiss.
I don't think they kissed. We'll watch it again.
Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I'd watch it and I'm like, okay, so never mind then. Maybe I thought there was kind of a thing there, but
there was a thing there.
We'll
but
rewatch it. We'll rewatch it.
We'll talk there.
I get it. But also, it does feel like that's one of the areas where there is like a little bit of a tonal mood mismatch.
Well, Bix didn't exist when Rogue One came out, so it's
we don't get to we don't really, and I can't really complain because we've ragged on the lore consistency stuff. But it is true that this episode, like literally, it plugs right in. The last shot of Andor flying away in the ship is like, oh, this is like 4 minutes before Rogue One begins.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, they butt right up against each other that way. So was Lonnie doomed from the start, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That one hurt.
I feel a little bit bad for him. I feel mostly bad for his wife and child who are somewhere.
He said they're tucked away for now, but like, who knows where that is? There's no chance that Kleia has like knowledge of where that is, like, or that like, they were even considering that at that point. That was just like, that was worst case scenario. We are found out. We have minutes to do what we need to do to get out. So yeah, and that's the reality of this war, is that a lot of people, just a lot of innocents, are going to die either way.
It's all about that sacrifice,
The first time I watched Andor, when it was the first season, when it was first coming out, and Luthen gave his speech to Lonnie, I didn't believe him. I thought he was telling this all to Lonnie to get Lonnie in line. And considering that Luthen kills Lonnie, I kind of feel a little vindicated like that. Now, obviously, with, hindsight, and that was my instinct in the moment before I'd seen the full season, before I'd seen the full show. So I think Luthen was more sincere, but he is also still lying to Lonnie. He is still pacifying Lonnie. Yeah, so it's hard to trust a guy who will kill you.
Yeah, I do think that Luthen is I think he's working Lonnie. I think he's he knows that he's happy that Lonnie thinks there's a way out of this. But also I think that Lonnie has a certain amount of naivety about everything. How do you go he should have known. And there's this I guess it kind of shows that there's still there's a little bit of that Imperial still in him, that is, which I suppose allows him to move in the Imperial, deep in the Imperial spaces like that. But it's how do you think that you're going to walk away from being a part of the machine that builds a planet-destroying genocide gun? You're not walking away from that, buddy. You don't get to go live peace. You got to be ready to die.
I think part of it is not knowing about Luthen, though, because he doesn't know everything else that Luthen does. He's not aware that Luthen is out here regularly murking people for the sake of containing the intelligence. Whereas Mon has a much clearer idea. She's I think that you might kill me if we can't pull off this extraction. So actually, I don't trust you. But Lonnie maybe was just kept in the dark enough about those things to be able to kind of retain this hope, this idea that there is a pathway out.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most painful of the getting rid of the loose ends. But I don't know. It's hard to argue with Luthen's logic there. It's oh yeah, they're going to torture the shit out of this guy. And also, from a certain perspective, you kind of got to think he's doing his family a favor. Because if he's never proven as a traitor and his family is just minding their own business and he's dead, they don't have anything. It's then the Empire can just go, oh, he died. A horrible terrorist killed him. Here's your benefits
doesn't
package.
the ISB think that Dedra did it?
Yeah, they do.
I think that's why they initially arrest her.
And Krennic, figures out that it was probably Young, but his initial thing is if you're not a rebel spy, then you missed your calling.
Yeah, I think I think they know Lonnie is suspect because Lonnie accessed Dedra's codes.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So there's a log there. Yeah. No. It was just a matter of time, and I think they can probably piece together that Luthen was probably the one that killed Lonnie. But from their mind, that's well, we were going to interrogate him and then kill him. I guess you robbed us of the interrogation, but you did the other part for us.
Yeah, and we have enough now to dude, every single person that we have become intimately familiar with in the ISB, with the exception of the black dude whose name I do not remember right now, but every other person who's in the ISB has been removed from their position or killed or killed themselves by the end of this. So I think that's so interesting, the idea of a fascist regime just completely replacing their entire staff periodically when there are mistakes like this.
How many mooches did each of them last?
Yeah. No, literally though, it really is you could. It's Germany, but it's also America right now. The whole it's the same shit. It's the same shit. The constant loyalty test, the necessity of in the believed in necessity of incredible punitive behaviors at all times, this constant power jockeying. Oh my God. All the way down to the greatest, one of the best moments in this arc is when Hirt is talking to his little buddy, his little assistant, the him from season 1. How Daedra had Hirt in season 1, and he has this little guy now, and he's talking to him about how he's okay, well, everything's fucked. Well, we need to figure out how to make sure this doesn't fall on us, because this is, Daedra's been arrested and now we're in charge of this, but we need to make sure everything falls on her and not on us. And it's just it's so pathetic. It's so political and stupid and short-sighted, incredibly hilariously short-sighted.
They're
when
grasping.
Of course, Yeah, and like crazy thing is that like Daedra's actually more like doing better for the Imperial long term by being like, no, like fucking get this guy out alive. Like don't worry about like who's in trouble with who and who's getting less demerits or whatever.
Systems either change or die.
I will point out though that Dedra, by working on the Axis project for so long, gathering files outside of her jurisdiction for so long, and having all of that stuff collected there so that she could find Axis, she ends up being the one that tips the rebels off.
Yeah, it's true.
Because Lonnie gets that information because she had it outside her jurisdiction.
There is a lot of that. There's a lot of like elements of like being destroyed by your own tactics. Like, I mean, that's a recurring theme throughout this. Like the cruelty inspires the rebellion. The squeezing makes more grains fall between the fingers, you know? And another example of this, of course, that's the most blunt and actually genuinely hilarious is when Hirt gets used as a body shield in his his
so
like
brutal.
trigger happy.
So unnecessary.
So brutal.
K2 is bulletproof. He did not need to do that.
Well, I would argue that he did needs to do that because that was an ISB scumfuck, and I'm totally happy with it.
Well, you kill him, sure, but it's different. Like, oh, let me hold him up here. Like that's psychological warfare. That's what that is.
Yeah, it is.
And also the fact that the guy kept shooting anyway is just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna keep using him as a bullet sponge. Yeah, no, sure, I'll just keep shooting that guy. I don't think that Sergeant, whatever his name was, I don't think he had fond feelings of Hirt to begin with if he was just gonna go ahead and do that. Oh, by the way, that raid on the safe house, they were all wearing stormtrooper armor, but they weren't wearing helmets. Were they supposed to be stormtroopers? Like, if so, why were they not wearing?
It didn't look exactly like stormtrooper armor to me. It looked quite similar, but more like maybe just like rather than being a member of the like elite guard, it's just like this is the style of armor that is made generally with like this color scheme. Yeah. But like a more of a riot police level of that kind of armor.
They were like I think they were called like ISB TAC unit or something like that. Yeah,
TAC unit.
So it's like they're
like
probably like
team.
they're probably like stormtrooper adjacent. I mean, look at how we get in our world, we get the cop SWAT teams that dress up almost like the military, but not quite.
Yay.
As we speak, by the way, for those who like it when we do this, Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States of America, has been taken over into federal control at the point of the military. So we're at the point where we're in the timeline. So was that an episode that we watched, or was that our lives? I felt like that a lot while watching this. I was going, wait, did that happen
the whole
in Andor?
show?
Was that?
Yeah. I don't know how much of it is prescience versus just like being a student of history and understanding human nature, and like it's a poem. It rhymes. To quote the guy who created Star Wars. I really do hope that like this show will be. I kind of feel like this show should be an MX manifesto. Like. As we're going forward, maybe, like I don't know if that's cringe to say or not. Like it's one piece of the puzzle. It's one element of it, but this is objectively like leftist art, revolutionary, anti-fascist art. And I think there's a lot of people, even your blue no matter who resist libs. I think even they can get something out of this. So yeah, it's a good show. It's a really good show.
It's a great show. And, there's a part of me that hopes that George Lucas watched this one and went, oh, that's really, really nice. Because it really does carry his legacy and maybe even fulfills his legacy in being extremely, extremely political to a degree that no other show of its type in its right mind should be. Like, I mean, there's been an endless roiling discourse around the prequels forever. But, one thing that's really true about the prequels is, God, those had a lot to say politically. And whether it's said it like cleanly in the Star Wars guise, certainly not as well as Andor. Yeah. But there's some pretty wild stuff. I always say my favorite scene from all of Star Wars being it is insanely goofy, but it's also amazing, which is, Yoda and the Emperor literally picking up the representations of planets in the Galactic Senate and throwing them at each other. It's like so perfect. And I don't know, I love that. Like this idea of just like two political opponents literally wielding the symbols of democracy and the symbols of the planets that they're destroying in their war against each other. I love that. It's great.
I do feel like Andor is like a culmination of a lot of those political messages. Like obviously we talked about recuperation in the last episode and how these are made for families, like they're made for kids to be able to enjoy. There's a certain amount of like, oh, you have to get a toy, you have to get a marketable toy in the mix. But as far as like all the political messages and, the way that this handles the Senate and everything, I just do feel like it is sort of, if there was something that they were driving toward as far as their political messages, like this is, I think, like the sort of ultimate message that George Lucas is always getting behind. Like community is important, family is important, love is important, democracy is important, and sacrifice is important, like all those themes.
And hope is important.
Yes, above all else, yeah. Literally A New Hope. First movie.
And, as much as I would absolutely love to see the Luthen Clea ice cream shop scene in Lego form with like a little Lego in the background with his eyeballs blowing out of his head from the charge that blew up 3 inches from his ear. Oh, man, I would love that. But I don't think it's ever going to happen for some reason. For some reason, I don't think we're going to get the child soldier press the button to kill 50 people. Are you serious about this? Like scene as a toy, whereas the Gungan fighting droids with their cool ships and their funny animals, like that just turns much easier into like a thoughtless toy.
Yeah.
And, it's not that there aren't moments within Andor that could happen. I mean, like, the Fondor, it's a cool ship. But there's just a lot less cool ship stuff. There's a lot less like everything is dingy and busted up, and there's not a lot of like there's not these like glory shots of cool ships like there are in other Star Wars. Really, like
you got some cool stuff with the U-wing. There's a really good shot of the U-wing flying away from the safe house and just going right past 3 cop cars that just completely ignore it. That was a good shot.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's the X-Wing at the beginning of the season that, like, I'm actually almost surprised that there isn't already a Lego set of that, because, like, that's cool. It's a black X-Wing, like...
The TIE Fighter?
TIE Fighter, yeah, sorry. I got it backwards. TIE Fighter, the one that he steals, that seems like it would be perfectly marketable, but we haven't seen it, which is interesting.
I mean, I guess its purpose is just... the purpose is, like, a little different, like... In the original Star Wars trilogy, there's all this like grandeur of space battle that I think like translates well into playsets. It's like you got your Tantive 4 and your Galaxy class Star Destroyer, and they're broadsiding each other or whatever. And it's like, I guess it would be a Mon Calamari cruiser. Sorry, Wikipedia fans, but
yeah, Tantive 4 kind of got picked up by the Star Destroyer. It's not a big one.
It's true, but also, can I just say? I love that ship. Like, the Tantive is such a cool design. And honestly, Star Wars ship design is just like, it's so perfect. Like, I know this is me sounding a little bit nerd crew, like, oh, it's so nice, so cool. But it's like, but for real though, like that shit is, there's so many good ship designs. And like, I remember like loving that shit as a kid and being like, oh, Naboo fighter. Oh, B-Wing. Oh, Y-Wing.
The Naboo fighter. The Naboo fighter felt too sleek, too CGI for me. But
I think that's what makes generally Star Wars so interesting in that way. Like that, like as compared to like Star Trek, where there's all these like really sleek designs and everything's got like clean edges and everything. Whereas like I think it's in season 1 when they are leaving Narkina 5 and they get into this ship that I'm like,
the quad hopper. Yeah.
I'm like, why nothing's going to fall apart. It's like, how are you going to survive space?
Backfires, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It has a backfire. Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're so right.
But that's why this is like a dystopia versus the utopia of Star Trek. Like dystopia, like the ships are like falling apart. And they intentionally in the behind the scenes, like, Adam Savage worked on some of the original Star Wars stuff, or knew people who did, and they're like they put distress on the ships and stuff, like, oh, you can see that this was shot by a blaster at some point in the past. And like that sense of like tangibility, which this show, I think, runs with hardcore and with all the practical sets. And like they try to build things out as much as possible. That's like HBO classic style that they've started doing with all of their big money shows. So like Disney's doing a similar thing where we're really trying to create an immersive environment for the actors, and it's more expensive to do stuff practically, but man, it turns out looking real good.
Well, and you also get the stuff where, like, I think the best of both worlds is building a practical set with a video wall surrounding the environment. You know, the volume that's we've basically had that technology forever. It was called rear projection before, but now we have it where it can track camera motion so that it looks better.
It's more interactive, yeah.
Like, I know actors like it. They like being able to just see the horizon instead of seeing a blue screen. But yeah, like you can see it done wrong. And if you watch Ahsoka, you can see it done really wrong there because Ahsoka is full of big empty sets that were obviously shot on the volume, and they didn't put anything in the set. It's just like, okay, the set's a volume. We'll make the floor. And everything else is a video wall. It's like, oh, well, this looks like a big open empty area of nothing.
You're demanding way more of your actors. Like I think you get a better performance when the actors are fully immersed and, you know, they're like, oh, what's in this cabinet? A whole bunch of stuff in this cabinet. Like this is a fully fleshed out world.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, every time this thing comes up, I just think about like Ian McKellen crying about like trying to be Gandalf and talking to like a bunch of tennis balls and shit.
Yeah.
Like, It's like I didn't become an actor for this. Like, this is horrible. Like, yeah, it's like, come on, you got to give people some magic to work with, or else they're not going to produce magic. You know, this whole thing, all of the dystopian elements and whatever. I think that this show, I wish in some ways that this show had happened, you know, back at the beginning of before we had what's the new one called? Force Awakens?
The Force Awakens, yeah.
The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and all that. If only because I think this show would have set the tone for going, okay, so then what does it look like? What does the universe actually look like after the Empire begins to fall? Because the element that ended up happening in those movies that it just never sold to me was like this. The First Order and stuff like that, it never made sense to me like politically, like the way that the galaxy was supposed to have unfolded after the Rebels won. I don't know. I think it would be much more interesting to see like, okay, so now you have the Rebels won, and sure, there's still like a lot of Imperial holdouts and, you know, planets that are loyalist planets and whatever. But what's the reconstruction? What's the galactic reconstruction look like?
Mandalorian goes into that a little bit, like they've been laying seeds, because Mandalorian takes place after Return of the Jedi, and I think it starts in like 9 ABY or something.
It's like a little in-between-ish.
Yeah, so they've laid seeds for setting up the First Order and showing how like there's a lot of people who used to be Imperial officers who have been put into like these Reformation programs and are now still working within the levers of power, and how, you know, not properly doing reconstruction can result in a resurgence of fascism.
Oh, you mean like the American government hiring a bunch of Nazi scientists?
Yeah,
you mean maybe a little bit like that?
So yeah, it's, you know, there's elements of that. Now, like Mandalorian, that show is pretty hit or miss. Like I think there's parts of it that are really good, and I think there's parts of it that are like, the fuck are you doing? But you know, there's some. It's a very Dave Filoni show in that way. So you know, you take.
If I watch it, do I at least get to enjoy Pedro Pascal to any degree?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I still haven't watched Mandalorian.
He's usually mask on. He takes his mask off a couple of times, but it's usually mask on.
You're not supposed to, for the most part. So yeah,
he's not supposed to. It's actually,
I do know about their culture.
It's pretty plot critical the times that he does. So
yeah,
but to bring it back into Andor, and I know this is a terrible segue because this has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Segues are weird.
Segues are weird. There was during the whole Andor walking to the U-Wing, and we were flashing to other characters and how they ended up. There's the one shot of Perrin on Coruscant drinking in the limo with Davos Skolden's wife.
Yep. He totally sold out Davos in order to avoid being put in jail himself. Like and I think they were having sex before anyway.
That's
like
entirely possible.
Yeah.
But I want to talk because like he's obviously not happy. Like, you know, it like the fact that he is not like under arrest himself, the fact that he is living free when his wife is like one of the biggest traitors to the Empire, that took some work. But also there was a deleted scene, or I don't even think they filmed it. I think they wrote it and then scrapped it for time.
Ooh.
That would have been, I think, in the last arc, and it would have been between Perrin and Mon, where Perrin tells Mon that he has been interviewed by the ISB every week for years, and he told them nothing. That he knew what she was up to, and he protected her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have loved to see that scene.
Yeah,
give him a little more depth.
My assumption, has been the whole time that he's just like, you said he doesn't look happy. And I'm like, well, duh. When have we ever seen Perrin happy except when he's drunk? Like he's not, he's not having a good time. That's the impression that I have had the whole show, is that he's genuinely like, so that would have been, I don't know if that would have felt like a deserved twist, or if that would have just kind of felt like it was flying in the face of everything that they had otherwise established in the show.
I think it's consistent. Like when you talk about
character consistent, like, because he's a griller, right? Like that's his whole thing.
Just want to grill. True. Yeah.
The speech that he gives at the wedding about, finding
so
happiness
cynical
in the small things. He talks about how, your life is going to be full of ups and downs, but you're on this road together and you have to find joy in the small things. And like, it's him recognizing that he and Mon their paths have diverged widely, but like they've been together since they were children. And there is some element of him that, he doesn't see eye to eye with her, but he's still going to protect her in his way. I would have liked to see that in there.
I think I like that. I do find it kind of funny, that final shot just being like, I think I miss my wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
It is very sad though. But I think, like, again, I do think it's like it's very tonally consistent. Like this show does something that they've never managed to do in Star Wars before, which is like fully flesh out what life under the Empire looks like. And it means you get to see the quote unquote benefits in the position of somebody like Edie, Edie Karn. And then you get to see like the real soul crushing, literal, put side by side with prison in like Cyril Karn's arc, where it's like, yay, I'm free to go into my cell every day. Just like, it's like no different. And they're both working towards the same end, which is building a giant ball in space meant to kill people. This show does such a good job with that. And I think like even the Perrin shot like plays on that, where it's like, yeah, like my life is, I have drink, I have fancy car, I have nice clothes, but my life is ultimately barren. There is nothing here that is making me actually happy. I just have to forget it using chemicals.
Yeah. And I guess there was the previous scene where Mon was beefing with Perrin on purpose because her driver was listening about their money issues in the first season. And Perrin is like, listen, I'm not like, listen, let's go back in there. Let's set the record straight. Whoever's been telling you this is lying to you. So I can kind of see there maybe having been an element of like, he is supporting her, or at least helping her by remaining ignorant, like that maybe he knows that there is something that he shouldn't know. I can maybe see that that would have been an interesting twist for sure.
It sucks too because like, I don't know. You think about that, and it's like the only reason Mon even had to do that is because they have a literal spy in front of her car, which is nightmare. Like
world. That she can't be honest with her husband, which I said in the last season. Like I feel so bad for her that she doesn't even have that. Like she doesn't even have her homie accomplice at home. Like, should. I think you should have at least one person, and she just had nobody. Vel, I guess she had Vel.
Vel is like her lifeline constantly, and they do through all the way through. I think it resolves in the earlier arc of her, like the way she is at that wedding. That's like the culmination of what we see her life being, just isolation in the most crowded room in history. just where she's just like, I am completely alone in this room. Even the guy who I'm like allies with is talking about potentially killing my friend, and my friend is talking about blowing our cover to a gangster. Like, she's just ends up being so alone. Like, her daughter is horrible to her. Like, oh my God, it's so depressing.
I wonder what Gripe Bet's up to.
Yeah, I know. What are they doing? She's bossing her husband around, probably.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I hope you kind of wish. Well, I don't know. Maybe her husband. I assume her husband is big balls, so maybe he got jumped on Coruscant and
Wow.
Yeah.
So the one person we haven't really talked about at all is Dedra.
I was just gonna say.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I feel so bad for her. She got so fucked at the end.
Yes.
Oh no.
I was bathing in it. It felt so good.
Every time Ben Mendelsohn is on screen, just God, every time he's present, like the finger on the head
poke.
thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely chomping the scenery.
That was an improv. That wasn't scripted. He just decided to do that. And I was paying attention. There's this really nice like bass boost that happens when he does it that just like really sells it, and she really sells it too. When he does it, and she's like, like the terror in her. Great actress, Denise Cal.
Yeah,
great actress.
she said that she felt intimidated by him in that scene. So some of that is like a real like his presence and the costume and the cape and everything. Like she was like, there was some genuine amount of like, what is this guy gonna do now?
The finger poke is such an amazing power move, and then also like it's funny because it's more scary even than when he literally grabs her head at the end and is like,
oh yeah,
we'll see what we can do without you.
Sit down. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Incredible.
We will endeavor to continue on without you, or something like that.
Yeah, like I think we can figure it out, Dedra.
Oh, that final shot of her in Narkina is just like, I'm like,
What do you think she's building? Is she working on the Death Star too? Because like that thing
gotta be, right?
That is what. Yes, literally. Like that's what else could it possibly be?
If the first one took them 20 years to build, they had to have been building the second one. They couldn't have got that up and running in 4 years, right?
Yeah. Well, isn't it like half built already? Like it has been being built the whole time during the.
We literally see the
series?
skeleton of the Death Star being constructed at the end of episode 3. So yeah, it's been 20 years.
I meant in the movies, like A New Hope and all that. I thought that the second Death Star just kind of has been under construction this entire time anyway.
That's what I assumed. Yeah. Obviously it's not finished in episode 6, but like it's built enough and it's operational. So like that's not something that you can put together in 4 years. So they must have had. It's like, okay, we're building it back up just in case, we need more of them. So maybe that's what she's working on.
Makes sense to me. Or maybe she's putting the calcite on those phaser
lenses.
fronts, whatever the fuck. Yeah. She's building those because they finally got the calcite.
Oh God, that just makes it even better.
Wouldn't
we
it
just
though?
have one shot of her taking the calcite and looking at it, and then it just goes calcite.
Mm-hmm. You can just hear him echoing.
And the chair.
Oh, yeah. And like watching her like realize in steps, because we don't get like that the last part with Dedra, like we are seeing her mostly in snippets, like, oh, she's in the jail. Hirt is asking her for advice. And then we have the interview with Krennic, and then we see her in the prison. It's like as she just like slowly comes to realize like, oh, I'm completely fucked, aren't I? After she had been like succeeding in her grasp for middle management power, and for even Partagaz to be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go to prison now. That's not what I'm going to do.
I would actually be interested to see a follow-up with Dedra because like we don't know what happened to her after that. She could have been in prison alive the entire time up through the end of the Empire. And like, I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to see her show up in like The Mandalorian, but do something. Because like I would be curious to see what her story is after that. I mean, obviously, in terms of Andor, it's a very fitting end to her story to be there. But I
it's so good.
I said last episode that I don't want to see them do anything with Andor's kid. Don't turn that into a legacy character. But I would be okay with seeing more stuff with Dedra because great actor and the setup's there. She's in prison. Who knows? Maybe does she get out? Do they not have on record the fact that she is responsible for the Gorman genocide. Who knows?
She gets Operation Paperclipped by Leia.
Yeah.
Leia's like,
Yeah.
we could use your help in putting together the rebellion army.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Cyril. We witnessed a moment where he was about to be radicalized, and with Luthen as well. Like, I think that there is a comparison to be made between Dedra and Luthen because they're both agents of the Empire initially. They're both attempting to become successful. He is, I think, a sergeant, Sergeant Lair. So he has worked his way up a little bit in this military thing, but his direct exposure to the violence is what radicalizes him and makes him go, I can't deal with this anymore. Dedra was insulated from all of that. So like, I understand why people think like she is not a very sympathetic character because of her sort of one-dimensional, I am on the side of the Empire, point blank period. But like her environment shaped that for her. And so for her to now be able to see like, okay, well, even within this system, it's brutal to the people within it. And I'm potentially aware of like the conditions on planets like Ferrix where things are bad for them. And, you know, she clearly does not feel completely morally absolved of the Gorman thing. She is clearly upset when she gives the order. So she feels like that was a position she was sort of forced to be in. And Partagaz and the whole system kind of did force her to be in that position. So I think that this would be the moment of her radicalization of going like, oh shit, there is nothing good here. I have been in service of an evil agenda. And if she ever gets out of prison, I think she would be anti-imperial.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so at all. I think everything about her character is designed to tell you like she feels the horror and goes forward anyway. Like she literally takes pills to kill how bad she feels about it because she's just so driven by her need for dominance. I mean, it really all came out in that scene with Bix in the first season where she's just loving it. She's
a bit of a sadist. Yeah.
She's a total sadist.
But how much of that is her desire for power within a system where she has been disenfranchised and like deprived of human emotional connections?
I'm sure, but also I don't know that it necessarily matters because that's a lot of other people, but not most of them don't end up going to her level. She's willing to commit a genocide to get ahead. And like, I don't know, like I feel like okay, another example of this is just like she got her puppy boyfriend killed and she just moves on. She keeps going. He is. He's a little puppy. He's a little loyal puppy. It's
yeah, she doesn't react to that at all, huh?
No, I mean, she does, but her reaction is to go, no, I just have to keep going. Like, that's her way of dealing with everything. All the way to the moment that she's in prison, she's still helping that fucking slimeball Yurt. She's not a believer in anything except for her disgust. And her discussion with Luthen is so good. Like, oh my God, I love that conversation. Like Luthen's just like, oh, you'll have so many people to be disgusted by. Mm-hmm. And like the way that Luthen, like their interchange, or her just being like, oh yeah, like I think I've gotten you. It's like, no, you don't have a picture of it.
She is very arrogant.
Oh yeah.
Oh, her arrogance is incredible. She loves it. It's like, I don't foresee any future in which she doesn't, in which she's like good or anything like that. I'm just like, oof.
But the open-endedness, it's like fun to speculate about, but we probably won't ever get an answer to these questions.
Unless they decide to have Dedra show up again. And
they're like, Denise, you're too good of an actress. We got to loop you back in.
have her part of the whole Rise of the First Order storyline that they've got going on.
Get her in on the First Order. Yeah.
So that could be fun. Give her another, oh God, what is her name? Gwendolyn Christie? Yeah. Phasma. Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
She gets like out of prison and then she starts like a racist podcast. And that's like, and so that's like helping to spread the First Order. She's like, you don't understand. They're putting cat boxes in schools. That's what the rebels want for your kids.
True.
All right. Well, that was a good show. We're not done with the season because, this show is a prequel to Rogue One, which is a prequel to A New Hope. So let's go do the prequel. We did the prequel to the prequel. Let's go do the prequel.
So now let's do the prequels.
Maybe at some future
with Star Wars forever.
I do want to get some other stuff going in here, but
oh yeah, no doubt. But the prequels would be so much fun.
They would be. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. I've been Gayfesh,
I'm Moss.
And I'm DemonMama.
and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.